let's say we've passed that law, right? So at first you're like, yeah, pro-life. Then you got the other people, you're like, but what about people of sexual violence? That's bad, they can't, oh no, you can abort it. That's great for them. But then what we don't see is, so today you're gonna get it because my partner is still ill. So I tried to give it to her this morning, not like give it to her, but I was trying to argue with her, not argue, but profoundly show her how she thinks very small and she needs to think larger, but then realizing that she's still not available for it. I guess I need to tell you now. So, politics. I don't like talking about politics. I don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything about politics at all. Do never listen to me about politics. I don't know. I don't care. I am literally I don't care. I don't watch things or get angry at things or get upset at things that I cannot change. Oh, but Andrew, but like you can vote and you can be the leader of the change, and if everybody thought like you, then the countries would all be gone. I get it. What I'm more saying is I, based on my intellect, have not spent enough time to make a decision that will warrant me to make a decision on which way to go, one way or another, because I don't have enough information. And if I don't have enough information, I'm not going to go seek it out. And because I'm not going to go seek it out, with that information, my vote is better held here and not there. Okay? Step one. But step two, what does irritate me is people that look at policymakers or a person that says, I'm going to bring in a law saying banning cigarettes, for example. And there's one camp that's like, yeah, ban cigarettes, good, less deaths. And then there's other companies like, no, we're going to have a black market of cigarettes, bad. And people with mental health are going to have even more mental health problems, and that's bad. And then one is like, you're wrong, and the other one's like, you're wrong. What I think we don't realise with politics is why you and I are not president, or what's the woman? What would a woman be? A president? A presidentess. That should be. Why you're not the presidentess or a president? Because you're not that, we don't think like they do. So every policy that we make, right? Every law that we make. So let's say we make a law on abortions are legal. Abortions are legal at any age, at any age, you can abort your child when he's 18. Like, pisses you off. As an 18-year-old, I would abort me, right? The things that I was getting up to. Fair call. We all go a bit crazy, especially you can imagine me. I went a bit nuts. And I'll tell you all about it as time comes. But let's say we've passed that law, right? So at first you're like, yeah, pro-life. Then you got the other people, you're like, but what about people of sexual violence? That's bad, they can't, oh no, you can abort it. That's great for them. But then what we don't see is maybe in 3-4 years, there's an impact to people who are like, well, if sex means less because sex allows me to then get pregnant, but getting pregnant is no big deal because I can abort the child. Even if I have the child and I don't want them, I can abort them again. It makes a group of people, or men and women, more lax around the topic of sex specifically. What the fuck is beeping? It makes people more lax about it, right? It makes people... Is my fridge open? Sorry. It makes people more lax about it. Okay, so if people are more lax about sex, we're going to have more people procreating, potentially. Okay, so more people having sex. Good, I guess. What about the fact that sexual energy is actually a part of our makeup? And if we're spraying out our sexual energy everywhere, then we don't have enough energy and drive to do things that move society forward. That's an impact. What about the fact that now we're having more sex? We're probably having more unprotected sex. What means with more unprotected sex, we might have more STIs. We might have more STDs. More STDs, more STIs. That must mean that we will then have a bigger health crisis. Then we'll have more people dying potentially, or more people spreading illnesses. Then out of that, we'll have criminals that will be like, well, I have STDs and whatever, but everyone's fucking, so I want to fuck as well. So then we're going to have these little criminal, little diseased people, not against you diseased people, but like we're going to have these people that are going to not tell anybody, and then they're going to have spread infections on purpose. And because everybody else will be like, whatever, I can abort my child at 12, they won't care. So then you've got that impact. Then you've got the fact that you can abort kids when they're, 17. You could be like, well, if this kid pisses me off during his teenage years, don't worry, I can just get rid of him. So what seemingly is like the Roe versus Wade, or seemingly like abortion, and it's like you're either pro-life or not pro-life. Whoa! There's a lot more than just pro-life and not pro-life. You've got to think, whenever you make a decision about something, there's the impact of, yes, no. And we're going to call that really simple thinking. We're going to call that really simple thinking like, I'm going to eat the ice cream today, or I'm not going to eat the ice cream today. 1, I'm not going to eat the ice cream, I'm going to be unhappy, but I'm going to be less fat. 2, I'm going to eat the ice cream, I'm going to be more happy, but I'm going to be more fat. But then you take it a step further and you go, well, if I don't eat the ice cream today, it means tomorrow I'm going to be less inclined to have a sugar addiction response, which will mean I'll be less inclined to eat more sugar, and instead I'll divert that energy, or that like dopamine chase, to something more productive in my life for day 2. Well, suddenly that choice makes a difference. But what happens if you stop eating ice cream, then everybody stops eating ice cream? What about Ben & Jerry's? Well, they go out of business. That means all of Ben & Jerry's staff go out of business. Or does Ben & Jerry's have to change and then take out sugar out of their ice cream? Oh, well, suddenly there's just a major ramification of it. So the mental model here isn't politics, it isn't abortion, it isn't ice cream, it isn't sex, it isn't sexually transmitted diseases. The mental model here is that every choice that we make, yes, it feels like it has a yes or no, but a wise person, or a person that can then map out, almost like in chess, 60 steps ahead. So if I make this choice here, what happens here, what happens here, what happens here, what happens there? And the wider you can take the impact of every choice will make you feel more strong, more confident in the choice that you make in your life. So if you consider all the things that can happen, when you do make a choice, it just has that much power over it, right? So if you decide, I'm going to get healthy, and I'm going to lose the weight, and I'm going to be at a healthy weight, it's going to be more than just insecurity and feeling better. It means that at 60, you're going to be able to still play with your grandkids. It means at 80, you'll still be mobile and functional and not need a wheelchair. If you're able to play out what seemingly is a small choice right now on a larger impact scale, you'll get a wider ramification of what that will make for you. The mental model here is that if you're stuck, and a lot of people are, thinking like black and white, yes, no, start thinking wider. Start thinking wider. When we listen to people, I'm like, that's really smart. I've never thought of that. Well, you should. You should think of it. You need to train your brain before you go, I'm going to decide. Think, what is the impact? And look, sometimes you won't be able to. Sometimes you won't be able to see all the impacts, and we make wrong decisions. Some of the best politicians make decisions which at first are very bad for the majority of everybody. So they risk being disliked. But they've seen the ramifications further along, and they know that for society in general, it'll be something better for them in the future. So begin in your life to make choices based on a wider consideration. Map them out onto the future. Map them out sidewards. How does it impact family, friends, your social life, all of this? Allow yourself to think about and consider all of the impacts that can happen on what seemingly is a small decision. And that will make sure that when you do open your mouth, when you do say something, and you consider or you make a choice of something and you're like, I'm going to do this, it will have that much more power. And I wish I could get that through to my partner, but she's ill. So unfortunately, you're gonna get all this. But I say it with love, because I want you to be better. I want everybody to be better, because I was shit once too. And I'm still shit now, but just a little bit less shit. So everyone, just be a little 1% less shit every day. Have a fucking great day.